In the presence of greatness. We are at home of Franklin, who we met at the Vogue Fashion Week. I think we did a quick interview like a couple of years ago.
Yes.
And it got some notes, I believe, on social media in the past. So with the help of Valentina behind the camera, we're gonna find out who is Franklin and why he is a stylist. Can you tell us like what makes you a stylist? Like what's like why would like Rick Davey is a stylist, right? Like there are other folks who claim to be a stylist. What's your credentials on the subject?
Well, what make me a stylist are my credentials. I set myself apart from everyone else. Consider the fact that I'm a perfectionist at it. I make sure I amaze the clients as opposed to the clients like, Well, whenever I dress someone, they always send me other clientele as well too. So what makes me a stylist, I'm great at it. I'm very zealous, and I take pride in everything that I do.
Okay. Is there any things that we can measure with numbers? Let's say awards that you won, or education that you have, or major productions that you've done that would say, yes, this is the stylist. This is not just the guy who dressed a couple of friends, even famous friends, but this is the guy who does it for a living.
Yes. In terms of awards that I've won, do have a Lifetime Achievement Awards for being an international model / fashion stylist. So consider the fact that I've done the Cape Town, I've done the Paris, the Milan, and especially I'm a hometown in New York. So they gave me an international Lifetime International Fashion Stylist as well as International Fashion Model. So meaning I've been doing it so great at it, they give me what they call a U Hollywood, which is a Universal Hollywood. In terms of big brands, I've styled Banana Republic the entire show for a lot of their fashion week. I'm one of their stylists there. Here in New York, there's countless celebrities that I've dressed for on a regular. And as you and I met at the Vogue Fashion Show, which was incredible, when I show up there, you see how I was dressing. I did have our backstage as well too. And 2 years ago, Roberto Cavalli just invited me as the only black stylist backstage. And why everybody wearing all black and I was wearing all white. So that was incredible. So yes.
Awesome. On the sad note, we're at the COVID times, so it took us like very serious preparation to come here. You look at us like if we had masks and stuff.
Of course.
We keep social distancing and all those things that in production. What makes stylist work now important during the COVID time? Like how do you set yourself apart? Like what kind of steps do you take? Do you wear masks? Do you wear gloves? Do you use UV light? Like what do you do as a stylist to make your set safe for your clients and for yourself?
Well, as a stylist, I manage to stay safe, not just particular for me, but everyone's around me in general. So the key is to keep everyone safe. That's more important, just doing my job. So if I can do my job safely with everyone being safe, it's better that way. So of course I use gloves. I do have a shield mask. I do have what they call a bedazzle mask that I put on, and I make sure of that. And I make sure we stay socially distanced. I do check everyone. You look at it, styling is great, but a person live is more important than just regular styling. So I have to take that precaution. I have to make sure I am safe. I have to make sure I sanitize the clothes. I have to make sure I sanitize myself. And as well, more importantly, my client, everything's perfectly well with my clients. So I go to the limit, making sure everyone around me is safe, and then get the job done.
Okay. As a stylist, you've been doing this for a while.
Correct.
And I'm sure you had some interesting stories along the way. Maybe you can share with our audience maybe a funny story, maybe a sad story, something to be remembered by.
Okay. Well, as a style, for me, I'm so positive, the negative person don't want to be near me. That's how positive I am. So I'm going to give you all the positive scenarios that I've went through as a stylist. I remember in particular as a model, I'm not going to say because it's a big brand that I still work with. As a model, their stylist didn't show up. I had to model and style backstage. That was at Spring Studio. I'm like, oh my goodness, that was incredible. They was like, oh, you can style. So the designer been using me as a stylist ever since then. I remember a time we was in Kensington, London, and then we was modeling for George Hamilton. George Hamilton, like, he's not only a model, but he's the best stylist that I know. So that was incredible to me.
Okay. What about maybe an advice for folks who wants to be stylist? Like, is there any life hack to be a stylist? Is there anything that you can just pinpoint and that people say, wow?
Yes. My advice to someone who wants to be a stylist. Number one, I would say strongly do your research, okay? Make sure you know who's the stylist ahead of you. Make sure you know who the models are. Make sure you know who your clients are. Make sure you know who the casting director. Make sure you know who the designer is, more important, because you're going to be working with the designers. And do take pride in your job, because if someone were graciously enough to lend you clothes to go style a client, make sure you return it, say, way better than you took it from before, because that's going to build your rapport. You want to be professional at all time. That's the way I approach things. If I borrow clothes from you, I make sure I pay you for the dry cleaner. I make sure that if I take it to a dry cleaner myself, the dry cleaner doesn't mess anything up at all. And I will sign a contract and say, hey, I borrowed in this condition, I'm going to return it in better condition. That way, next time around and I come back, you'll be able to say, you know what, Franklin, you're a great guy. I love the way we work together. I love your professionalisms. As someone who's coming up, you want to be able to style a client that's like, they so content with you, they want to keep coming back. No, whether you do it for free, whether you do it for money, always go 250%.
We had a little, if not conflict, disagreement in colors prior to this production.
Yes,
I suggest not to use black and white as colors, and you insisted that white can be really good. What's your take? Why you pick for the interview white shirt as a stylist?
Okay. Well, for once, I woke up this morning, I was feeling like we in falls, right? Okay, yes. I was feeling that, and I'm looking at the leaf. The leaves are falling, so it's like, yes, it's brown leaves that's falling. I'm like, you know what? Let me do the white there. Let me just, can I show them my entire outfit?
Yes.
Yeah, I took this, of course the old Ralph Lauren say, frock, so I thought I like to wear my Ted Baker, was compliments the outfits. I figured, since she says white, I threw on a sweater, and just to, give it a little bit different vibes. Okay. So that's why I managed to do so.
I think with the daylight, it will look good. What social media do you use and why? Like, how people find you? Do they find you on Instagram, TikTok? Where you get the most business from? Like, which social media platform?
The most social media I use, it has to be Instagram. Consider the fact that I do have a separate page on Instagram that I style different clients. Most of the time they reach out to me.
How many pages you have?
Well, I have Instagram at Franklin Myrtle. I have what they call South Florida GQ, which is my page. I do have the LinkedIn. I do have the Twitter. I do have Facebook.
Why? Like, in terms of percentage wise, like, do you spend, let's say, more time on LinkedIn and you get business clients there? Or you spend time on YouTube, like putting a nice video, or Instagram? Like, what works for the stylist?
Well, they all work for me. The LinkedIn one, that's when I find the doctors and the lawyers, more corporate people. The fashion people, I find them on Instagram. So that's when they reach out to me, Instagram and Twitter.
I see. So you need to have all of them, like, in order. Each one has its own space.
Yes. Well, you work with every people. Like, you have doctors, you have lawyers, you have musicians, you have athletes. So they are different, use different platforms. But mostly Instagram is where I find everyone, and that's where they find me.
That's pretty cool, guys. If you need a stylist advice, and this interview will get some views in the numbers, yes, I would try to ask Franklin to continue this conversation, and we can maybe make it a weekly or monthly thing, if obviously if the numbers will support this.
Of course.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. And I want to advise people that to go to the Confessional Showroom, which is Confessional Showroom in New York. This is like, we are the #2. We really the #1, but the other showroom is #1 because of the fact they have Gucci and Louis Vuitton. But our showroom, called the Confessional Showroom, New York, you could come there any given time. We do.
Do you want to do a quick plug-in for the eyewear smart
of course, yes.
You have here?
Yes. Okay, I'm wearing David Ford. This is the presidential David Ford, by the way. With that being said, let me take this one off. This particular piece, called the Ford tech. Okay, what it is, it has the microchip Bluetooth there in the speaker. So basically, I don't use my AirPods anymore or iPods anymore. So I use this. I put this on. Okay, and this is perfect for it. It's the new eyewear. So basically, when you call me, I could hear it from here and talk to you. I could also reject the calls from there as well.
That's pretty cool.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, take a look. Maybe that's the new wave.
Yeah, the new wave, of course.
Cut.